All right, very interesting session today in the index. Let's go ahead and break it down. We came into the day wanting to see how price was going to respond versus this near-term area of support. If you take a look at the hourly chart, which is what I have on the screen here, you can see recent attempts of this 47.75 area, even pretty much into the close yesterday, have been defended. Buyers responsive to this zone. We saw a big clue during the pre-market session with this bounce and failure right through here that the buying activity in this zone may be coming to an end with the potential to resolve lower. So anytime you have a zone like this, you just want to come into it and just see how price reacts. No predicting or anything like that. We're just looking for some type of clues, some type of signals that price is either going to be defending that area of supply. We want to see buyers stepping in and paying up. And if they're not, then watching for a potential breakdown play and not considering any other longs until we have, a suitable signal with some type of level of interest, some type of intraday structure, something like the 4750 test that we saw this afternoon. Now, price initially, we come into the session. Let's take a look at the intraday chart here. We're dealing with a big gap down, right? So price initially opens below that green zone that you can see on my chart there. Not a major sell-off right off of the open. We do have an initial move lower, but broadly speaking, take a look at the 5-minute chart here. These bars are all overlapping. There's a lot of what I call barcode, just a lot of barcode type of action, no real movement, no sustained movement in either direction. Just kind of that initial move lower and then just oscillation, right? Oscillation. So price resolves higher into 10 a.m. reversal time. We haven't seen that trade working nicely recently, but it did work nicely today versus what was the session volume point of control. Now at 10 a.m., all of the volume from today's session was right through here at the 47.60 area, which tells us, all right, this is some potential accumulation. Price resolves higher, you get a nice 10-point bounce into VWAP. Bit of a rejection there, right? Now keep in mind, big picture structure here, price. That's why I like to keep these colored zones on my chart. Price is resolving higher, but where are we? Well, we're trading up into that prior breakdown point. Remember, this green zone is that prior breakdown point from the pre-market session, from the overnight session. And so more churn here at VWAP. Price breaks higher, breaks up through VWAP, and just is pretty much stopped here at our 47.75 level of interest. This has been a notable level for the past few days, past few weeks, coming into the afternoon, late morning, and just resolves lower, right? So what I consider this personally is a breakdown of the level of this key zone that we are watching on the 1530 and hourly chart. Bounces, pretty much just a retest of the key zone. Right, so breakdown, retest, reject, and resolves lower into that 47.50 area. Now we're back. So the main watch into tomorrow, just to keep it quite simple, 47.75, very similar to what we were looking at for today. We want to see how price continues to digest this area, this 47.70, 47.75 zone. And as a reminder, just to kind of reiterate, here's what we're looking at. It's kind of the primary structure at play, at least in the near term. Now, in the intermediate term, talking about, the past month, yeah, it's sideways, right? Just trading the range. Just trading the range here. Right through here, there's a prior daily pivot. Remember this area right through here. That's that blue zone. What we were looking at today, again, was the past 4 or 5 sessions right through here. Near-term range, just overlapping daily bars, resolves lower, tests one of our downside reference points at 47.50, did not quite make it down into that daily pivot. And so now tomorrow, same type of deal. How does price react versus the 47.75? That's how I'll be treating it into tomorrow's session. Now NQ, a bit of a different setup for today. A little bit cleaner action in NQ, in my opinion. Came into the sesh wanting to see how the 16,800 level was treated. Right, you can see pretty much right at the open, you have an initial blip higher that gets instantly sold into versus some overnight pre-market structure and just fails that 16,800 level. Not even an interest, not even a bid right there. No interest. First area where you have some interest is right through here. Zooming out, that little blue line on my chart there, we'll see that was prior area of support right through here, 16,755. Does not hold, right? Does not hold. Sellers in control on this main move lower off of the open. Remember, anytime you have a big level, big reference point breaking during the pre-market session, you really do not want to be fading that move, at least into 10 a.m. So wait for the 10 a.m. reversal before you attempt to grab longs on something like this. That'll save you a lot of headache. If you're trying to grab longs through here, that's a very, very tricky trade. You can scalp a few points here, but just wait for 10 a.m. The easier trade is going to come at 10 a.m. That's exactly what we saw. Check out the 10 a.m. reversal time. Yeah, 10 a.m. perfectly marks the low in NQ. Now resolving higher, right? NQ definitely with some relative strength today. Much better product to be trading today. Did not make a fresh session low with ES. These are big clues that price gives you about what product you should be focusing on depending on what strategies you like to trade. So if you primarily like to trade the longs, you like to focus on long setups, you want to be focusing on NQ on a day like today where it's not making fresh session lows while ES is. That tells us there's relative strength in tech. It's going to hold up much better. So a lot of great opportunities today. Some trickier action in ES for sure. Anytime we're trading near those key areas, those key reference points, the action tends to be a little bit trickier. You have a lot of shakeouts as the higher time frames kind of develop and paint a cleaner signal. So remember that when you're trading within those larger, higher time frame pivots, you just want to be more cautious, making sure you're keeping an eye on the higher time frame charts to really align yourself with what the easiest trade is going to be. Now, taking a look at the NQ daily chart, what I do actually like to see right now is QQQ hammer today. So tomorrow, see if there's any follow through on NQ, on QQQ, up through essentially what would be today's regular trading hours high. Price now closing on session highs in NQ. So some solid action here. We'll see how it resolves tomorrow. But as far as NQ is concerned, back within this near-term range. Range trading continues. No change to the structure here. All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Take care.